Everybody, Scoots here. We're going to play a game, new game show game. This is the first time we're doing this. Oh, Gene Green Jeans, Gene Mean Jeans, are you, thank you, Scooter, welcome. It's time to play Don't Support the Show. Everybody, we'll do it all together now. Don't support the show. And one of the groups playing that already wins. You shouldn't support the show if you're a new listener. You might even find these messages pretty annoying if you're new. Don't worry. We'll get to the sleepy stuff soon. But we just want to let you know if you're a new listener, you're welcome here. We'll be repeating these messages over and over again. We're glad you're here. Thanks for checking out the show. But don't think about supporting the show or listen to our requests or whatever if you're new. Because there's people who've been listening 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. So if you're new, or kind of new, don't support the show. Thanks to everybody.
I don't know if you have this feeling, but I constantly find myself daydreaming about finding an expert who can solve a very specific problem in my life. And one specific problem that comes up every year is filing taxes. But luckily, finding someone who can solve that problem is easy with TurboTax. They have dedicated tax experts who are there to help you every step of the way. With TurboTax Expert Full Service, you can match with an expert who will handle your taxes from start to finish, no matter how complex. You can even hand off all your tax stuff within the TurboTax app. And then you can see updates on your expert's progress while you go about your day. You can check exactly where your tax return stands right there on your phone. And then if someone ever says to you, man, I wish there were an expert who could do my taxes for me, you can say, oh, I know someone. Visit TurboTax.com to match with your expert today. It's only available with TurboTax Full Service Experts. The real-time updates are only in the iOS mobile app.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster who's here to take you, I don't want to tease this episode too early, but the podcaster that somehow missed something so obvious. This is a Tale of the Tape episode, or Tale of the Tapes. I caught in the sequel I realized the pun, but in the first one I didn't. But you know, whether however you view the word argyle, whether that's for socks or sweaters or a movie with Bruce Willis or the movie that's about to come out that reminded me of an earlier film. And that this film I'm looking forward to seeing, Argyle, probably, maybe I've already seen it by the time this comes out, but this is you say, I thought this was a sleep podcast. What am I listening to? Is this like film muck? Well, it is in this episode. Yes, welcome to Sleep With Me. I'm glad you're here. It is a very different show. I totally acknowledge that. I hear you. And I'm here more to keep you company while you fall asleep, to barely entertain you and take your mind off of stuff. So, yeah, give the show a few tries. What we got coming up is support, so the podcast can be free for everybody that likes it that way. Then there's a long, meandering intro. That's meant to ease you into bedtime and help you wind down. And I'll keep going like this, where I can't even explain what the podcast is. But that's kind of, I don't know. I'm here it's like a TV on in the other room. And then there'll be a story later. It'll be a bedtime story of me trying to remember the plot of 2 films. And so it's a podcast. It does take a few tries to get used to. So give it a try and see how it goes. You got nothing to lose. I also have a website set up, sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. And that has other sleep podcasts and sleepy stuff on there you could check out. So check that out. But I'm glad you're here. I'm already, this is just supposed to be the teaser. I'm really glad you're here, though. I really hope I can help you fall asleep. And these sponsors are how we're able to do it for you for free twice a week. Everybody, Scoots here, and this is... and this is an episode. I'm wondering how it's going to go. This is kind of a Tale of the Tape hybrid episode. So where I kind of talk about a movie, or in this case, two movies that I've seen that I have a very vague recollection of. But first, we're going to talk about why, right? Because I like to go to movies in the movie theater. And I try even now to find films and say, okay, like whether it's a first run film or some sort of, festival or a second run or whatever it is. I love going to the movies. And I've seen a trailer for a movie twice in the last two movies, and it really made a connection for me. The movie's called Argyle. This is not a sponsored thing or anything. It comes out, you're probably hearing this, is because it comes out in February 2024. And part of the reason I'm excited about it is it is Sam Rockwell in it, as well as Bryce Dallas Howard, Dua Lipa. That was how I first heard about it. But so I saw the trailer for this movie, and it looks really good. I will probably see it in the theater, but it also reminded me, because at first when I heard about it, I was like, what's this movie? It's some sort of thriller? But then when you see the trailer, for me, I said to myself, this is a bit like Romancing the Stone. Different, but similar. So I'm going to talk about the movie Romancing the Stone and its, sequel called, let's see, Romancing the Stone. Oh boy, I hit the wrong button though. And its sequel was called Jewel of the Nile. Now, I just want to see a couple things. It had Michael Douglas, Kathleen Turner, and Danny DeVito were the stars of the movie. Came out in the 80s. And when did Jewel of the Nile come out? Jewel of the Nile came out, what year? 1985. And same top three stars, three very talented performers, I would say, and people I loved seeing back then. The interesting thing is I was way too young to see either of these movies, but for some reason I feel like I saw, so this gets into why is this important. So Jewel of the Nile would have been when I had my paper route, and it looks like I was too young to see it, but I saw it in the movie theater because what happened was this was where the podcast was formed. So I'd probably seen Romancing the Stone on HBO, and then Jewel of the Nile came out, and again, maybe it was PG. I don't think they had invented PG-13 yet. But so this was this brief time in my life's history where I had a paper route, so I had money. I had, I'm the oldest of 6 kids. I was still, like, this would not, I mean, even as a parent, like, I consider myself a pretty open-minded. I would have not allowed this. But it was pretty flexible childhood I had. Well, let's see when that movie came out, what time of year. And so I would go to the movie theater by myself or sometimes with a friend. And I would go to, like I would go to pretty much every movie that was in these theaters that I could walk to, which was a double theater. I think it only had two screens. It may have had, I'm pretty sure it only had 2 screens. Just looking through the reviews and stuff, it was around a 6.1. This one says not abysmal, but not as good as the first one. Just trying to see. The release date was December 11th, 1985. So I probably saw it during our holiday break. Its budget was $25 million, and it brought in worldwide $96 million. So it's a pretty successful movie. And they don't make movies like that anymore, $25 million budget movies. That was the sequel, which we'll talk about as well, because, Robert Zemeckis was the director? Wow, we're learning a lot here of Romancing the Stone. Okay, did not know that. It's written by Diane Thomas. And let's see who directed Jewel of the Nile. Louis Teague. Wow, so this is interesting stuff. Was there a third one? No, I don't think so. Okay, so... Yeah, so I saw the second movie. I definitely saw the first movie before I saw it. And let's talk about what I remember about the movie, right? Pretty sure. Why is her name Joan? Popped right in my head. That rarely happens. Let's just see if I have that right. Joan Wilder. Okay. And Jack Colton. Okay. So in this movie, I wonder if that's the name of her character. Well, we can look up facts later. So here's what I remember about Romancing the Stone. I guess let's do some research about it on Wikipedia. Why don't we do that first? Romancing. How's everybody doing tonight? It's good to have this loose format where I could take your mind off of stuff and put you to sleep. Okay, I'm not going to read through the plot or anything, right? We'll save that, and then we'll read through it afterwards. And also look up where we could watch it. Okay, so Romancing the Stone came out in 1984, 106 minutes long. It had a budget of $10 million and made $115 million. And originally it was written by Diane Thomas in 1979. And Zemeckis was working on Cocoon, but liked it and offered to direct it. They turned down at first. And Zemeckis moved on from Cocoon, and the initial early screening, what does that mean? Alan Silvestri would collaborate with Zemeckis on later films, compose the score. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense, but it sounds like they made the movie. Plot and cast, we don't need that. Production, 5 years earlier. Oh, Diane Thomas was working in Malibu. Sylvester Stallone was originally considered to be Jack Colton. Other leads considered were Burt Reynolds, Clint Eastwood, Paul Newman, Christopher Reeve, all for Jack Colton, and Deborah Winger as Joan Wilder. It was filmed around the world. Reception. They thought it was not good. Studio insiders did not think it would be successful. However, it became a surprise hit and 20th Century Fox's only big hit in 1984. It was the sixth highest grossing film in 1984. And this was what allowed, really did lead into the history podcast. This success allowed Zemeckis to make Back to the Future. Wow, it holds an 86% approval rating, so it's pretty well approved on the tomato meter. Some critics, though, said it was a bit like a copy of Raiders of the Lost Ark. So there's a lot of stuff about the reviews. Let's just see let's load up Just Watch. See where we can watch these movies here in the U.S. at least. I can't, recommend that for everybody, but... ROMAN, Romancing the Stone. Okay, 6.9 on IMDb, though. It looks like you do have to purchase it at this time. I mean, can rent it, stream it on any platform. Not available for streaming on TV. Now, that's unfortunate. And then Jewel of the Nile. Same thing, not available on streaming, but you could rent it. So, okay, so that's probably, so I haven't seen either one of these movies in a long, long time. So I'm going to lay out maybe what I remember about the movie, probably be very wrong. Now, like a lot of movies, I think this movie was based on a lot of presumptions about industries and ways of life, and glorified New York City publishing in a way to start with. So Joan Wilder, played by Kathleen Turner, was like a romance writer, incredibly successful romance writer. And the main character in the movie, and I think she has so her normal, ordinary world. We'll just start with a kind of basic plot where we would start a movie. She's an incredibly successful writer. I would bet that either in this movie or the second movie, she's late on her book, but I'm not positive about that. But I can see her doing like book signings and book readings, and she's beloved by the people that love her and her main character, Jack Colton, who is like some strapping hero like Indiana Jones. I guess she writes like Indiana Jones romances. I mean, I don't know what year Indiana Jones came out in the Raiders of the Lost Ark, maybe 82, 84, which is interesting, that timing. Guess we got to look that up now. Wait, so let's get these dates down. This is like an anthropology class, huh? No? Okay. So part of me just was like, that's hilarious, dude. Okay, we're going to need IMDb for that one. Okay, we got to get back. Not now. Romancing the Stone was 84. Okay, let's get back. Raiders. All right. D81. Okay, so that makes sense. Okay, so in 81 was when Raiders came out. So this is a romance based on an Indiana Jones style character. I mean, loosely. I mean, not one-to-one. And Joan Wilder's incredibly successful. I like this. For me, I say, okay, I like it. Kathleen Turner. Now, of course, like one of the elements of these, we've made our own rom-com episodes, is that Kathleen Turner, of course, is unsuccessful as a romance writer. You can't be successful in romance. It's in a movie that has comedic elements. So, of course, her character, I think, is constantly being fixed up on dates that are unsuccessful. And so that's another plot point is, when are you going to settle, her outside pressures from her family and her friends. When are you going to meet the right person? And you say, can't you just let me be? And probably her thing, but also in the back of your mind, when you're asked that question, do they know something I don't know? Or, little doubts creep in. I would say that she is also kind of portrayed as a well-to-do, successful, like New York City style romance author. I mean, in some sense, archetypal and not a real way, but so that means she doesn't go camping. Shorthand for I don't go camping. And I like to eat at restaurants, and I live in a building with a door person. I think that's pretty, that's 80s shorthand. If you live in New York City and you live in a building with a door person, you probably don't go camping or on an adventure. You'd be out of place. And if you eat most of your meals at a restaurant. So that's our main character, Joan Wilder. What do we remember? Those are things I remember, and then I'm guesstimating that she's unlucky in romance or portrayed that way. Maybe can't come up with the idea for whatever her, not her, she's probably at least written, I would say, 6 books so far, but maybe this is her sophomore slump. But I think it's already a successful series, and it's just like, when are you going to get to work or deliver the copy on the next one? I can also see like different manuscripts changing hands. And so there's that going. Also at the same time, Joan is very close with her sister. And this is just me. These are pieces I'm putting together. But there's the two non-heroic characters are someone and their brother sidekick, who is played by Danny DeVito. And somehow Joan's sister gets involved with them, and in a way where, I don't know if she's like me, like, I don't know, in the 80s, powdered sugar was portrayed as, like, was a major plot point in a lot of films. Use of powdered sugar recreationally for topping off your baking, and also as like the behind the scenes. And so this movie also takes place in Colombia, which was a major source of powdered sugar. And I think that even if it's like on the subtle, just building on what are like not well-founded facts, but that maybe Joan's sister is somehow in Colombia, maybe like linked to something related to powdered sugar, but I could be wrong. Now, and it was as someone that struggled with stuff, like, then she may be calling her sister and saying, hey, could you send me like, can you, like, they didn't have Venmo back then or whatever, but, hey, could you hit me up with some cash? I'm a little short this month. And so she somehow gets involved with these two gentlemen. And I'm pretty sure her sister's played by somebody that we would know. Let's take a look here. Kathleen Turner. Zach Norman is the other. Ira is the other non-positive person. Okay. Holland Taylor plays Gloria, who's like her agent. Mary Ellen Trainor, that's her sister, I think. Elaine. Okay. Now I'm looking at the rest of the cast, and I'm like, wait a second, I don't really know. I'm starting to lose who is who, but I'm also starting to see scenes, and I can picture some of the trailer moments from one of these movies, which is like four-wheel driving, running, and stuff like that. Okay, so those are the elements. Then somehow Joan's sister either gets in her involvement with Danny DeVito and his sibling or partner. They say, okay, well, we're going to, maybe your sister's indebted to us and we need you to bring us cash money to come visit us in Colombia. Now, I'm already got a point in the movie where I can't remember why it starts the way it does. So this gets interesting. So she first probably rejects it, rejecting the call to adventure or these other calls, like, and she says, well, I can't bring it down there. Like, I can't bring you cash money for powdered sugar. Like, can't you just, oh, well, they don't take it. This is like, I'm getting a deal on it. And then they say, come on, bring it down, your sister. It's accumulating compound interest, Joan. And it'll be seriously compounded. So you got to bring it down. So she finally agrees because her sister says, please, compound interest compounds daily. And so she says, okay, I'll come with cash money. So at some point she departs New York, and I think like her agent or publisher is like, Joan, what are you doing? So maybe she's missing a deadline as well. So this is out of character for her. So then she heads out. Now this is where I get foggy. So I'm missing about 10 minutes, maybe only maybe it's just a montage sequence, but somehow she flies to Colombia. And she has to get to Cartagena. I know that much. I mean, just from, I don't know why, it's just in my head. And so I don't know if she has to change flights or she has to she has to hire a vehicle. But let's go with the assumption she had to hire a vehicle. I don't think this is what actually happened in the movie, but I really can't remember. So, but I'm pretty sure, okay, let's say she hires a vehicle, it breaks down. It had to travel through like some serious rainforest type jungle. And somehow during that, like where they're trying to repair it, or maybe they say, well, we have to camp for the night while we wait for a part or something. She also wanders off, and this is where the fish out of water sequences, they start to begin. She has a high heels on. She doesn't have a raincoat, or if she does, it's not a real raincoat. She has multiple suitcases, which is pretty stereotypical of these things, and she's not prepared. Or, I don't know, maybe she's on a bus? I can't remember. I mean, that'd be very good. But then you'd say, I'm from New York City. Of course, I've taken a bus before. But at least in film terms, she wouldn't know how to take a bus. But I don't know. And I think I'm going to rewatch this movie because it's been so long. And don't worry, the second movie, I will spoil the plot very quickly because I don't remember anything about it. Or almost nothing about it. But okay, so Joan gets separated from whoever she was getting a ride with. I guess it doesn't make something's not making sense of the randomness of what I remember. So I'm probably wrong in here. But I do remember one of the sequences from the trailer that is like not that big a scene, but so it's pouring rain. And she's in a rainforest. It's very muddy. She's in high heels. She's exasperated. She's wandering around. It's pretty dark. And then she accidentally goes down a water slide, just like in Goonies or other movies where you're like, holy cow, this is like every kid's dream. It was my dream. I said, why can't I wander through someplace that's raining, but it's warm? And then I stumble onto a water slide that's made of mud. So she slides down that, which is interesting, which is even funnier because I didn't remember this, but this is a plot point in the second episode of Multiplex. Because it's a good device because you can't go back to the path you were on. And I just realized that I'm using the same method. So it's a handy storytelling device, I guess, apparently, because once you go, you've diverted from the path, but then you can't return because you've slid down somewhere into a new world. So she slid down and she's in the mud. She's sopping wet. Okay, but this doesn't make sense. Okay, so we have to jump back again. So now this is why we do these tales of the tape. So she goes back and she like at some point she must have met Michael Douglas's character earlier. Because otherwise it doesn't make any sense. Because they're actually together on the mudslide. And the only reason for that is a moment that I didn't understand as a young boy that's in there, but like an allusion to when your back sweats. But so she must have hired Michael Douglas's character, Jack Colton, to drive her to wherever she has to go from the airport, apparently. I don't know, so I am missing like a chunk of the movie, a small chunk. Flies from New York, meets Michael Douglas's character. I would presume he's down on his luck. She asked 3 people, and he was the last person, and then he refused. She refused. But they both needed each other. Like, he needed the money, and no one else could give her a ride. Or maybe she doesn't speak enough Spanish, or whatever it is. Like, so he finally, she takes pity on him. They both think they're taking pity on the other person. Okay, fine, you could drive me. Okay, fine, I'll give you a ride. But don't talk to me because you're a New York City big shot. And she's like, and you're a ruffian, expat, rogue or whatever, knave, I don't know. Okay, so that would make more sense. And then they would be, if again, we're sticking with these semi-tropey things that work, is that she's correct. They can't agree on driving or direction. And so then the car breaks down. They're in some sort of Jeep, I would assume. Okay, and then she's like, then she has all this luggage. So of course, yeah, this makes it gives it more immediacy. He's like, I can't believe you have all this luggage, blah, blah, blah. Then they do the mudslide together because they're also under like, I just remember they have, like they end up together in the mud, and it's like, oh boy, is this foreshadowing? And again, I was just a young lad, so I didn't understand it. I didn't understand foreshadowing or why your back would sweat. So I didn't know any of that. So, but that's the case. Then, so they're soaking wet, right? And then they have to make camp. But they only have like one box of her luggage, maybe her manuscript, hopefully, and the cash money for the powdered sugar loan or whatever. Okay, then there's another sequence I didn't understand, and again, it plays into these tropes, but it worked. They're trying to find some place to make shelter for the night. They find an old plane that had landed there forever and been there a while, and they have to build a fire, and the plane is full of bricks of of dried grass. And I just did not understand this because, again, I was a little kid. But so they start making the fire from these bricks of dried grass. And Michael Douglas is like breathing in the smoke. And I don't know if her character was or whatever, but he like is inhaling the smoke from the dried grass. And he's been detached from our world, the way of life of Joan in the United States or whatever for a while. So she they're arguing, but she's also giving him news. The biggest piece of news was that the Doobie Brothers had broken up, which it was just when I was thinking of this movie, I said, Doobie Brothers, like, huh? But also, like, as a kid, I didn't know who the Doobie Brothers were. And I still didn't know, okay, let's look up the Doobie Brothers, because I still didn't realize, now I do, and I like I love the tone, the non-creaky dulcet tones of the Doobie Brothers, but I didn't realize that them breaking up was important enough to be mentioned in a movie, and that he would be devastated. Okay, they were formed in 1970 in San Jose, California. Vocal harmonies. Now, where's the original lineup? I mean, Michael McDonald, the founding members. Oh, this is the current lineup. But the founding members were Tom Johnston, guitars and vocals, Patrick Simmons, Michael McDonald, and John McPhee. And there's other people that have been... and they're still performing. But yeah, see, Johnson provided the vocals for the band from 70 to 75 when they had a mainstream rock sound. Michael McDonald joined in 75 as keyboard player and second lead vocalist. And that kind of gave a new sound to the band. And they were co-lead vocalists on Taking It to the Streets. Johnson retired in 77, and the band broke up in 82. So they had just broken up. And then 87, they got back together, but without Michael McDonald. What a Fool Believes, am I right? And then he rejoined the band in 2019 for their 50th anniversary. 14 albums, 6 top 10 appearances. What a Fool Believes. The Best of the Doobies came out in 76. So listen to the music. Jesus Is Just All Right. Long Train Running. China Groove. Black Water. Taking It to the Streets. What a Fool Believes in The Doctor. I'll have to listen to The Doctor. That doesn't really help me. Never thought there'd be a 5-minute Doobie Brothers tangent in there. Rosen said, "What? Okay, so this is the name. Yeah, it does have to do with that. But Hartman said he didn't even know what Doobie meant until somebody else told him. But everybody in the band agreed that was kind of a funny name. But they thought they would only use it but it caught. Okay, so that's the Doobie Brothers. And they broke up. It was a Michael. I mean, not to... Well, I'm not from, I'm not trying to throw any shade, but to me, like Michael McDonald's voice is what I associate with the Doobie Brothers. But again, I'm not that. I'm like a little aged out. Okay, so back to the movie, which I don't really remember much else about. So he says, I can't believe the Doobie Brothers broke up. By the way, I think essentially we're gonna have to hike all the way to Cartagena. Now, at some point, maybe even earlier in the movie, oh, no, yes. So at some point, also Danny DeVito. Okay, so this is like gathering moss on missing stones or something. So at some point, Danny DeVito's character is following them, and he's hapless, too. And so he must be having to follow them just in case or something, or even though he's involved in the scheme. And his brother or his partner does not treat him well. So he also gets lost in the forest and everything. But he's trying to keep up with them. Okay, so whatever. They talk about the Doobie Brothers. They loathe each other. Joan and Jack or whatever. Is that his name? Jack Colton? Joan and Jack? And Danny DeVito's character is following them. Then they try, this is really my only other memory is they try to cross the country. And at some point they encounter a guy, Zolo, who is the leader of some group and owns a bunch of land or something. But they're also trying to get away from somebody. So they have adventures, what do you call it, tests and adoration, whatever they call it, allies and I mean, he's one of their allies, I think. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's the one chasing them. But I don't know. He seemed like a very flashy character, and he has a car called, he's the one who has a truck, and it has extra, a nitro boost or something before Fast and Furious. And his thing has like a nickname, his truck, I just remember it says say hello to don't worry, we'll take my burro or something. And they said, but there's three of us. How are we going to take your burro? And then he says, this is my burro. And it's some really cool 4x4 truck with nitro. So they get chased, and they must do something for him. So it must be part of the gathering, the gathering of the things for the allies. And I would assume they separate. At different points, they realize, I'm sure Danny DeVito they encounter him. He probably lies to them. And then they finally get to Colombia, probably reach a point of no return. I guess they would get to the final stage and they would break up. They realize they're in love with each other. And they loathe each other, Joan and Jack. So I'd assume they get almost all the way there. And then they're okay, they've reached some peak. And then they're better off we just go our separate ways, huh? And then maybe it's after I think there's one last action sequence at an old castle or old fort. And Danny DeVito's character probably changes teams and starts to work for the other side. And then they trick the other brother. And then I would assume that Joan returns and on the plane ride back to New York, she writes her next novel now that she's met her character. Oh, because this is the thing I didn't mention the whole time. And I did. Michael Douglas's character is pretty much the same as the character in the novel. And then, of course, he returns. And then they make another movie called Jewel of the Nile. And I don't think Kathleen Turner's in it as much as like it's Michael Douglas, Danny DeVito. And I think the thing there is like they have to find the jewel of the Nile. There's this one guy who seems like very like a Dalai Lama type character. And they have to get, but he speaks in riddles, and he's very friendly. And they have to get that guy who knows where the jewel of the Nile is. And then the opposing forces have Joan as their guest. And they're going to exchange the jewel of the Nile, as long as they keep this guy who knows where it is, right, for Joan. But then we realize, just like in like you were the Santa Claus we needed all along. That's the only thing I remember about this movie. So let's see how wrong or right I was. Okay, so plot on Wikipedia. Okay, Joan Wilder's successful, lonely romance novelist. Latest novel, she meets Gloria. She gets handed a map that was sent by her brother-in-law. And everybody's in her business. So she has a secret map. Then she gets a call from her sister Elaine, who says, yeah, no, that was my husband's map. It's antiquities, people that are after antiquities, Ira and Ralph. So she doesn't need money. She just has to bring this map. It's a Cartagena, so it doesn't have anything to do with powdered sugar. Then Joan, wait a second. So Joan flies there. Then she meets Colonel Zolo, who has been looking for the map. He gets her to board the wrong bus. Okay, so that I was right about bus riding. Instead of going to Cartagena, it goes deep into the interior. Ralph realizes this and starts to follow Joan. Then Joan distracts the bus driver. And, it's just an accident. It bumps into a Land Rover. And everybody starts walking, but Joan meets Zolo, but the Land Rover's owner is a friend of Bird's, Jack T. Colton. Okay, so I remember this part. So he has a bunch of birds. So she says, if you get me out of here into a payphone, I'll give you $375. Okay, so I guess Zolo is not friends with them. He's some sort of, he's involved with some sort of group, trying to be dominant, I guess. So they're trying to elude Zolo. Okay, so Juan. Okay, so yeah, that's the person with the truck, Juan. He's a super fan of Jones. Okay, so that's the person I remember. So somehow they find this guy, Juan. Oh, because he's also a leader of a group. Okay. He's also a super fan of Jones, and he helps him get away from Zolo. And, then, they have an interlude, according to this. And then Jack says, why don't we find this treasure or whatever's on this map and then get your sister? Then everything comes together. So you have the Zolo group, Jack and Joan, Ralph, who's sleeping in the back of a car. They follow the clues. They find the treasure. Oh, the romancing the stone. Oh, boy. How did it take me that long to forget that there's a stone in the movie? 43 minutes. Okay, so that's the stone. They find the stone hidden. Okay, then Ralph takes the stone. Then Zolo's team shows up. Then Jack, they cause a distraction. Jack gets it back from Ralph. Then, they go even on more external adventures. River, falling water from, rain. Oh, Jack and Joan are separated on opposite sides of a raging river. Jack has a map. Joan has a map. Jack has the emerald. Oh, Jack says, hey, I'll keep the emerald, you keep the map, and I'll meet you back in Cartagena. So Ira does not know they have the stone, I guess. So they give the map to Ira. She meets up with her sister. Zolo's group has Jack and Ralph and the stone. Okay, then there's Jack shows up, to save the day. There's, everybody's arguing over this emerald. And Jack has a choice, like all these things. Do I want the stone or Joan? And Jack, of course, saves Joan, not the stone. Ira gets away, doesn't help Ralph, so Jack also helps Ralph. But he goes off to try to get the stone after he saves everybody. So then Joan goes back to New York. She's written a new novel. And another bestseller. And then she finds Jack, and he's got a brand new sailboat named the Angelina, after the heroine of Joan's novels. And he says, yeah, you sold the emerald for this boat of my dreams. And they head off. Oh, yeah, because I guess I remember them kissing and going on a boat together to head off into the world, There was also other attempts to make other sequels, but, or even a remake. They considered in 2007. And it was remade as a television series. Interesting. Okay, let's just see the plot of Jewel of the Nile. That's pretty wrong about it, but how did I forget the plot was that it was romancing the stone? Okay, so the next movie takes place 6 months later. Their romance has gone stale. Joan's got writer's block, and Jack wants to sail around the world aimlessly while Joan goes back to New York. And then Joan gets hired to write somebody's autobiography. Jack says, what are you doing? That's when he bumps into Ralph. And Ralph says, I want the stone, man. It was mine. Okay, then that's when they meet somebody who says that, they say that the guy that Joan's writing the book, the autobiography of, Omar, has the Jewel of the Nile. And so Jack and Ralph are like, let's find Joan and the Jewel of the Nile. And Joan realizes she's not going to write this guy's biography because he's not an enlightened ruler, which he claimed he was. Then Joan encounters who is, in fact, the Jewel of the Nile, who could be it could be an enlightened ruler. And then they realize, okay, we all have to work together. And, they all work together. This is some dated stuff, it seems like, but Joan tells Jack the jewel is not a gemstone, but a person. And then they use a British rock promotion special to convince, one guy's going to convince him that he's a prophet. And then, there's more actions, with a scenario from Joan's book. But then everything happens in the end. Joan and Jack get separated. They use a crane. And in the end, Joan and Jack get married by the Jewel of the Nile. Ralph's happy for them, but he didn't get any money. But then he gets some money in the end, and everybody's happy. So it's interesting. Here's something interesting. From the Jewel of the Nile, When the Going Gets Tough, the Tough Get Going by Billy Ocean. and The Jewel of the Nile by Precious Wilson were playing the movie. Douglas Turner and DeVito also co-starred with Ocean in the MTV video. Soundtrack also features Houdini's Interesting Folks Come Out at Night and No Sheep Are Sleeping Tonight by somebody. But this song was a huge hit. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Billy Ocean, man, classic. So let's see, description. It was Wayne Braithwaite, Barry Eastman, Mutt Lang, and Ocean. It was the theme song for the movie. Saxophone special by Vernon Jeffrey Smith. It was a hit. It climbed the charts, but it was outpaced by How Will I Know by Whitney Houston. Critical reception. It was a very slick U.S. pop number, but lacked the substance. Might say, Scoots, who's Billy Ocean? I'd say, well, you might be missing out then. Leslie Sebastian Charles, better known as Billy Ocean, is a singer and songwriter. And sang Love Really Hurts Without You, Red Light, Caribbean Queen, No More Love on the Run. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. There'll be sad songs to make you cry. Get out of my dreams, get into my car. And that spans like a long time. That was 88. A lot of movies, like hits for films, actually. Or a couple. But I don't even know. Get out of my dreams, get into my car. Was that like a driver's license movie? Or was that the name of the movie? We're really digging deep here. It's a Billy Ocean, based on a line from Sherman Brothers song. And Billy Ocean song. It was a number one music video. It has Billy. Oh, yeah, it was. It was from the 1988 film License to Drive, which was a team comedy film with the two Corys in it. Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, Heather Graham, Carol Kane. Believe it or not, that came out in 88, I think. It was 88 minutes, man. $8 million budget, $22 million box office. It was in production in 87 and released in 88. That one's about kid that gets his license to drive. And, yeah, I don't know. We need to know much more about it. Reception, 2 million. Yeah. Critical response was negative. 24% approval rating by critics. Despite a hardworking cast and a premise, it's a silly comedy. Maybe seek out better films. Generally unfavorable reviews. More than passable summer entertainment, music, Drive My Car by the Breakfast Club, Sweet Surrender by Brenda Kay, Star, I Feel Free by Belinda Carlisle, Time Starts Now by the Boys Club, Get Out of My Dreams, Get Into My Car by Billy Ocean, Crucial by New Edition, One More Dance by Jonathan Butler, Jazzy's in the House by DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, Touch and Go by Femme Fatale, and Make Some Noise by Raiders. And then there was other films that weren't on the soundtrack. Mercedes Boy by Pebbles. I don't know how that's not on the soundtrack. Rush Hour by Jane Weidland. Strangers in the Night, Frank Sinatra. That's Life, Frank Sinatra. Waiting for the Big One, Femme Fatale. Trouble by Nia Peoples. Interesting. There was a reboot of this movie? They were developing a reboot in 2017. There was an unmade sequel in trilogy. License to Fly. And there could have been another one, a third installment called License to Dive. But yeah, I mean, I guess I highly recommend, like, I'm interested to see Argyle, and I probably will watch Romancing the Stone before I see Argyle. I'm looking forward to it. And always nice to take a meandering run down these type of paths. So thanks and good night, everybody. All right, everybody, this is Scoots here, and I just want to thank the people who are joining us over on Sleep With Me Plus. Really appreciate it. I want to thank Catherine, Susie, and Katarine. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Tracy, Michael, and Janae. Thanks, and good night. Austin, Shannon, and Marta. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Chloe, Andrew, and Scott. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Wouter, Jenica, and Sarah. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Alex, Craig, and Luke. Thank you, thanks, good night. Patty, Kurt, and Tony. Thank you, thanks, good night. Dean, Craig, and Stacy. Thank you, thanks, good night. Zaria, Regina, and Rachel. Thank you, thanks, good night. And Kelly, Alec, and Bonnie. Thanks, and good night, everybody. Thank you, everybody who supports the show directly. That's how we're able to come out free twice a week. Whether you support the show on Apple Podcasts, you're a patron, or you support the show on Sleep With Me Plus, or you support the sponsors. We all appreciate it. In a free way, you say, oh, man, I want some of that Sleep With Me Plus ad-free or story-only content. Yeah, you could get it for free by referring people. Just sign up for our referral program at sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer. And people are earning 6 months regularly now on the referral program. So thanks, and good night. And here's Scoots with a tuck you in message. Good night, everybody.
This show is supported by Odoo. When you buy business software from lots of vendors, the costs add up and it gets complicated and confusing. Odoo solves this. It's a single company that sells a suite of enterprise apps that handles everything from accounting to inventory to sales. Odoo is all connected on a single platform in a simple and affordable way. You can save money without missing out on the features you need. Check out Odoo at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.